What about your program with Booker and Sharmell? What are your thoughts on that program?
I definitely would have liked it to last longer. You know, I think it was only like a month or so. And,
Right.
Benoit was involved. We did some tags with Booker and Benoit, like on the road and on TV, and Booker and Bob Holly wrestled them overseas.
You want to pause it?
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
All right. Talk about Booker and Sharmell program.
Yeah, I was thrilled to death, you know.
All right.
Booker's great, you know, and so is Sharmell. I really got along with them, and they really took care of me on the road. A few times when I was in real bad shape, and I just would have liked to work with them more.
What happened on the flight to Europe after Eddie's death? Were you on that flight?
Yeah. In regards to me,
Just the whole flight in general.
Well, for me, I was unconscious for most of it. I took that really bad when Eddie passed.
Right.
You know, that hit me really hard, and I was not dealing with it in the best. You know, I didn't take that well, and.
Was the office at this time aware? I mean, obviously you said Johnny was aware of the problems, but did anybody else from the office ever come down on you at all? Or?
It became aware after that loop.
Right.
On a flight over there, I was at this point in time I was dating Christy Hemme.
Right, I was gonna ask you about that guy.
And we all got on a plane. We did the tribute show to Eddie, you know, that night in Minneapolis, and that was incredibly hard. And I had stocked up on, you know, all my party favors that I needed for Europe, and got on a plane, and I was just a wreck in bad shape, and I was walking up and down the aisles, you know, and the office was on the charter, and both crews were on SmackDown, and I was like, I guess I was out of it, you know, walking up and down the aisle, and Booker grabbed me, apparently, as I was walking the aisle, and pulled me over top of him, and these are like, you know, the 5 seats in the middle,
right.
On a big plane. So he pulled me, and he threw me down into the seat, and he took off his jacket, and he put it on me, and said, stay right here, and then Sharmell sat with me, you know, put her arm around me and sat with me, just so I'd go to sleep or whatever. And
right.
I got up and walked around, and I guess, you know, damage control for me. And I got to Europe, and I was just like, man, this is no good, and it was no good for my personal relationship with Christy at the time too, you know. And I got to Europe, and I was in a hotel, and I flushed everything down the toilet, you know, and I called a friend of mine to come take the other stuff away from me.
Right.
The bad thing was I didn't know that quitting cold turkey was not advisable, because all of a sudden my body was like, hey, where's the drugs, you know? So I was like, I'm not gonna end up like Eddie, I can't do this, you know, whatever. And I mean, Eddie was sober when he died, but just the same, you know, and it was just, it was really hard on me, and I, like the third day of the trip, we had to fly every day. It was a really hard loop. It was like really taxing on us. It was like one of those where you fly every day, and it was like 6 a.m. and I was sitting on the plane, and I was just trying to go to sleep, you know, that was all. And I was sitting there just with my head up against the window, and I was sweating and shaking, and Ray Mysterio saw me, you know, and then he's asking me what's wrong, and I was like, man, it must have been like the 4th or 5th day, because they were all at Eddie's funeral. So whenever Ray came back, I guess it was a few days later, and he went up and got the doctor who was on the plane. He came back, and, you know, he asked me what was going on. He took my pulse, and it was like 170, resting heart rate.
Right.
So, you know, and I had a mini stroke, is what happened. And, you know, he was like, you can't just do this, you know, you can't just stop everything. So, you know, he shot me up with like some drugs every day just to like get me through. And then on the plane trip home after the last set of TVs, Johnny Ace came back and sat with me and talked to me. He was like, you know, what are you gonna do about this? You know, I said, I'll get help, you know. And so I goes, man, you can have a job here as long as you want, you know, not just as a wrestler either. You can do whatever you want, be with this company for a very long time, you know, but you yeah, get straight. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll get help on my own. I'll do it, you know. And so that's kind of how we left it. And that was in whenever Eddie passed, November of '05, I guess.
Yeah.
So
We'll talk about. Did you get help at that point in time, or?
I saw a couple people, but again, I'm making excuses, I guess. But at the time, you know, I thought, you know, I was only home a day or two a week, and I didn't understand what help was.
Right.
You know, I wanted to be sober, but I didn't know how. You know, and I talked to guys like Sean Michaels, or especially Eddie when he was alive. You know, just about their experiences, and you know, I reached out, but it didn't click for me. You know,
You weren't ready yet.
no, it wasn't.